There's a lot of people out there that, and there's never a right way or wrong way, but for me, you can do so much, and I think I'm very big into education and due diligence, but you can spend too long trying to find out every detail and you miss opportunities. So when an opportunity presents itself, I normally just grasp it and then figure things out as I go along.
Now that's interesting, because I think a lot of people who deal with managing risk are not very good at seeing opportunity, and a lot of people who are good at seeing opportunity are not very good at managing risk. And in my view, the key skill of a property developer is to be able to combine those two things. See the opportunities, understand the risks, understand how to minimize the risks, but also understand how to turn risks into opportunities. So you're looking at this from the angle of somebody who is dealing with property developers all day and helping property developers raise finance, but you're also looking at it from the perspective of someone who organises investments for investors or facilitates investments for investors. So in your mind, how do you balance out those two things, opportunity and risk, and how do you make sure that you're not too biased towards one or the other?
Very interesting question. I would say that I kind of had two lives, because when I worked away, I was managing large groups of people, and many people say that working at sea was a lot different than working on land.
You always understate what you did when you were working away, and let's just take a little detour here. I want to come back to this question about opportunity and risk, but what exactly were you doing?
Well, as a qualified ships captain, and I worked for a number of. I originally started off in the commercial sector, so cruise ships, container ships, that type of thing. Yeah. Then I got made redundant, and after a few months travelling the world, I actually ended up in the south of France and worked for 4 years for the Saudi royal family. Yeah. And eventually ended up, after working for a couple of other people in between, also billionaires. It was when I joined, it was the world's largest privately owned yacht for the world's richest man.
And are you allowed to say who that was?
I've signed a lot of. It's the Rising Sun. So if someone Googles that, they'll get a pretty good idea.
And you met a lot of interesting people when you did that. Are you allowed to talk about that or not really?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Who'd you meet?
Lots of very interesting people. One of the last guests that we were getting ready for when I left the boat. The last time I was on there was actually Obama, to give you an example.
President Obama, or former President Obama?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you met any other US presidents?
Former, I've met Trump.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And anyone else who's really interesting?
Lots of people. Actually, I did a presentation for a networking group for Brendan Quinn, actually, and because people have asked me about my previous occupation. I did a presentation on the 5 things I've learned from billionaires, and I actually went through the Forbes top 100. I'd met 52 of the richest men in the world.
Wow. And so what did you learn from meeting people? Because obviously those people live in a pretty rarefied environment. I imagine they're pretty demanding people. They're used to ordering other people around, I would have thought, and they're often, I guess, used to getting what they want. What's it like dealing with people like that?
An amazing education, actually. Working like this in this close quarters, I learned very quickly that a number of them don't understand, or most of them don't understand the meaning of the word no.
Do you think that's why they achieved what they achieved?
Yeah, definitely. They've got most people would say they've got an unrealistic expectation of what's possible, but the proof is in the pudding. It's not unrealistic because they've actually achieved it. But that's why I stayed at sea, or in that particular job for so long. That money couldn't buy the kind of interaction that I got on a daily basis. Yeah. I learned so much just from observing them and meeting them and interacting with them.
It's interesting though that I think it proves the point that if you are able to see things and that other people believe aren't, and persist at things that other people believe aren't possible, you can achieve the exceptional. I'm not saying that everyone will do that, but I do believe that vision and that tenacity are what leads to things that lead to success?
I would go one step further and say that some of them have such a strong belief that people will buy into their vision, and that they're able to sell that vision to other people.
So it's about influencing people as well.
Yeah.
That in itself is very interesting. Very interesting detour. I'm going to drag you back to opportunity versus risk. You started answering the question, and I'd like you to answer the risk.
Yeah, no, so a lot of people said, was it a big jump coming from working at sea? I was there for almost 20 years to working on land. And to be honest, I studied management, project management, and ship construction, naval architecture, and managing large refits.
So did you do a degree then, or?
In nautical science, yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
And yeah, the yacht was about 500 million build, and an average refit, which would happen every few years, was between 20 to 40 million.
Okay.
So managing that project.
That was like managing a big construction project.
Yeah, managing the crew. In a shipyard, you may have up to 300 workers on board every day.
Right.
And managing that whole process. The materials may be slightly different.
Well,
but,
it's more people than I have on any of my sites.
Yes, so managing a project on land is exactly the same principle. So that was the risk element of it. And then obviously my previous property experience working with investor cash and whatnot was, I kind of married the two together.
Okay, yeah. So that, I think to some extent has given you the ability to see two different sides of the coin, to understand the risks that are involved in the development process. And I guess managing risk, at least from my point of view, is about understanding risk. You've got to understand it first, and then you can work out how you're going to manage it. I think one of the biggest problems that developers that are starting out have is that they don't understand the risk they're taking because they don't know they're taking it.
Yeah, I'll say one of the things that I've never shied away from, and never let ego get in the way of. If I don't understand something, I'll go and seek out the best person that I can find that's got that experience, and I'll try in some way to partner up with them, and in order to get the knowledge from them.
Yeah, and I think in a way, that's what all entrepreneurs have to do. You just have to work things out. If you don't know what the answer is, you go and find it.
And tend to look at things from a longer term perspective. So you may, by partnering up with someone in the short term, you may get a smaller piece of the pie, but on the long term, that pie is going to be much bigger.
Yeah, no, I agree.